Listen, when we talk about chaos in the rap game, nobody does it quite like Tekashi 6ix9ine. But this time, it wasn't just another trolling stunt or Instagram rant. Nah, this one shook the internet to its core. Because just a few nights ago, 6ix9ine went live and completely obliterated Fat Joe in front of thousands of fans watching worldwide. What started as a regular IG live between two rappers turned into one of the most disrespectful, jaw-dropping moments hip-hop has seen all year. Picture this Fat Joe trying to play the big brother role, giving 6ix9ine in some OG advice, when suddenly Tekashi snaps. Out of nowhere, he starts airing out decades of street rumors, calling Joe a fake legend and accusing him of selling out New York. The live chat went crazy. Fans were spamming W6ix9ine and ripped Joe's career, while others called Tekashi the devil himself. Within minutes, clips flooded Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok, everyone talking, everyone choosing sides. But what pushed 6ix9ine in over the edge? Why did he come for a man who once defended him when the whole world turned its back? This isn't just befits betrayal, ego, and revenge colliding on one explosive livestream. And the aftermath might end both their reputations forever. It started like any other random night on Instagram Live. The chat was moving fast, hearts floating up the screen, and fans dropping laughing emojis as 6ix9ine joked about how no one could outcloud him. The energy was typical Tekashi, wild, unpredictable, full of ego and energy. But what nobody expected was who would join that live. Out of nowhere, the screen split and there he was, Fat Joe, the Bronx legend himself, the man who's been in the game since before 6ix9ine was even born. The comment section exploded instantly. Joey Crack in the building, this Buddha be legendary. Joe and 6ix9ine in no way. Everyone was watching, phones recording, waiting for something big to happen. At first, it was calm, friendly even. Joe cracked a smile and said, "Yo, Tekashi, you still wild N, huh? You out here trolling the whole industry again?" 6ix9ine laughed that loud, chaotic laugh fans know too well. "You know me, Joe. I don't do nothing halfway. I am the industry, big bro. I made these rappers start caring about numbers again." Joe raised an eyebrow. "Numbers don't make you real, bro. You know that. Real ones move in silence." And that's when something shifted in 6ix9ine's face. The smile dropped. His voice got quieter, colder. "Move in silence. That's funny coming from you. Ain't you the same dude that said you was keeping it real while you was cutting deals behind people's backs?" Joe's grin vanished. The chat blew up. He really said that? Yo, what is he talking about? Joe tried to brush it off. "Nah, I don't know what you talking about, lil bro. I've been solid my whole life." But 6ix9ine wasn't backing down. Solid. "Joe, you was out here preaching loyalty, but left your own people hanging when *T got tough. Don't talk to me about real when you've been fake for years." At that moment, it stopped being an interview. It became war. Joe leaned forward, his voice booming through the mic. "You better watch your mouth, kid. You disrespecting a legend right now? You know what I've done for this city? For the culture." 6ix9ine smirked. "Yeah, I know what you done. I also know what you didn't do." Where was that same energy when the feds came knocking? Where was that energy when people were calling you soft for staying quiet on half the street beefs? You only talk tough when cameras are on. The internet lost it. Twitter exploded. Within 5 minutes, 6ix9ine versus Fat Joe was trending #1 in the US. Thousands of people joined the live. DJ Academics was screen recording. Rap blogs were already writing headlines. 6ix9ine calls Fat Joe a fake OG live on stream. Joe, visibly heated, said, "You talk all this *T online? But you ain't never outside. You ain't never pull up in the Bronx. You ain't never give back. You just talk for views." 6ix9ine fired back immediately. "Oh yeah, I gave back more than you ever did. I went to Mexico, I fed poor kids, I gave back to my hood before the fame. Don't play me like I'm some internet punk, okay? You rappers talk about real, but y'all broke, bitter, and scared of the truth. The chat split in half. Half the fans were riding for Joe. Joe's an OG. He don't need this clown. The other half were backing Tekashi. He exposing the fake love in the industry FR. Then Joe dropped the bomb. He said, "Bro, you snitched. Ain't no way around that. You can't talk about real loyalty or the streets ever again. You a walking contradiction." For a second, there was silence. The entire live froze, literally, like the internet couldn't process what just got said. And then 6ix9ine exploded. Snitch. Bro, you keep saying that like you wasn't hiding behind security your whole career. You talk about loyalty, but your own people don't trust you. You act like the streets owe you something, but the streets forgot about you, Joe. You old news. Fans flooded the comments with skull emojis, shocked faces, and nah, he didn't. Joe's expression went from anger to disbelief. He muttered, "This dude's lost his mind," and looked off camera like he was ready to end the call. But 6ix9ine wasn't done. "Don't run now. You wanted to come on my live, right? You wanted to talk to the king of clout? Then let's talk. You talk about me being fake. But let's talk about how you've been cozying up to the same people who blackballed. 50. Let's talk about how you switched sides every time it helped your image. You not real, Joe. You a brand. I'm the truth." The room went dead silent. And that's when Joe finally said it. "You ain't the truth. You're a virus to this culture." And just like that, 6ix9ine ended the live. Gone. Screen black. Chat dead. Thousands left wondering what the hell just happened. Within minutes, the clips went viral. Reaction videos popped up everywhere. 6ix9ine ends Fat Joe's career on live. Fat Joe gets exposed for being fake. Tekashi crosses the line again. But what people didn't know? That wasn't the end. That was just the beginning, because the next day, Fat Joe went on a rampage. By the next morning, the internet was on fire. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, every platform had one thing in common: 6ix9ine versus Fat Joe. Clips of the live were everywhere. Fans slowed down the footage, analyzed every reaction, every eye twitch, every smirk. Some said Fat Joe looked hurt, others said he was holding back tears. And then there were those who swore 6ix9ine ended Joe's legacy with that last line, "You not real. Joe, you a brand." It didn't take long for Joe to respond. Around 11 a.m., he went live from his studio in the Bronx. No filters. No fancy lighting, just Joe in his sweats, sitting in front of the mic. The look on his face said it all. You could tell he hadn't slept. "Listen," Joe began, his voice calm but shaking slightly. "I don't usually respond to clowns, but when somebody comes at my name, my legacy, I gotta speak on it." Thousands tuned in immediately. The comment section was a war zone. Let him cook. Joe 6ix9ine already won. Give it up, old head, real talk incoming. Joe continued. "First off, I ain't never done no snake business. I've been loyal since day one. The people who know me, they know what I stand for. I came from the mud, I fed families, I gave people jobs. This little dude don't know nothing about that. He think clout equals respect. It don't." Then Joe's tone changed. His eyes hardened. 6ix9ine want to talk about real? The same 6ix9ine that got a whole team locked up. The same dude who begged to come back to New York under police escort. "You can't talk real to me, son. You don't qualify." The comments blew up again. People started quoting Joe's lines on Twitter within seconds. Hashtags like #RealTalkWithJoe and #CloutAINTRespect began trending. But as much as fans hyped Joe's response, others felt he was being too emotional. Some said he was rattled that 6ix9ine got under his skin. Then, out of nowhere, Joe dropped a story that nobody saw coming. He leaned in close to the mic. "Let me tell y'all something that nobody knows. A few years back, before all that rainbow hair, before the famed 6ix9ine came to one of my shows. He was a fan. Dude begged me for advice. Dude begged me for advice. He said, "Joe, I want to make it, but I don't got no team." I told him, "Stay solid, work hard, and don't play with street energy if you're not built for it." You know what he told me? He said, "I'ma make it even if I gotta fake it." And that's when I knew this kid ain't built for real life. The chat went wild. Joe got receipts. He exposed 6ix9ine's old self. Oh my God, this beef is personal now. Within minutes, clips of that part of Joe's live started circulating. But here's the thing. 6ix9ine didn't stay quiet for long. Less than an hour later, he fired back on his Instagram story. In a black background with bold white text, he posted, "Fat Joe still talking about 5 years ago. Bro mad cause I made more money in 1 year than he did in 30. Legends don't need to explain themselves, washed rappers do." Then he dropped a video clip. It was him in a Lamborghini, blaring loud music, laughing hysterically. "Yo, Joey Crack, stop crying on live, bro. Ain't nobody checking for Terror Squad in 2025. I'm the new New York old man." Respectfully. That video alone racked up 3 million views in under 2 hours. Every blog picked it up. Say Cheese, No Jumper, Academics, Rap Daily, Candidly Cassie, District Trending, everyone had a take. But while fans laughed and memed the beef, something darker was brewing behind the scenes. Because according to sources close to Fat Joe's camp, he took that attack personally. Like I-want-to-n-your-career personally. Insiders said Joe started making calls to DJs, radio hosts, even festival promoters. One anonymous source told Prestige Pop, "Joe told everyone straight up, if you book 6ix9ine, don't expect me to show up. He's trying to shut him out the industry completely." That rumor started catching fire fast. And within a day, 6ix9ine's name was allegedly removed from the lineup of a small East Coast hip-hop festival. His fans went ballistic. Y'all really letting Joe blackball him? This is why old heads ruin the game. Freedom of speech unless it's 6ix9ine. 6ix9ine noticed. He jumped back online that night with another explosive rant. "Yo, Fat Joe trying to stop my bag. I ain't surprised. Every old rapper does the same thing when they can't compete. You can't cancel me, Joe? You tried that with 50, you tried that with Khaled, now you're trying it with me. You soft, bro? I'm still winning." Fans flooded in again. His live hit 400,000 viewers, insane numbers. But mid-rant, something unexpected happened. Fat Joe's son, Ryan Cartagena, popped into the comments. His message, just one word, disrespectful. That's when everything stopped. 6ix9ine paused, looked at the camera and said, "Oh, now the family getting involved. Bet, tell your pops stop hiding behind his kids and come see me face to face." The internet lost it again. Yo, he's dragging the family now. 6ix9ine went too far this time. Joe's gonna snap for real now. Within minutes, Ryan deleted his comment, but it was too late. Screenshots were everywhere. News outlets picked it up instantly. Fat Joe, seeing that his son was dragged into the beef, lost it. He went on IG again, this time furious. "Yo, Tekashi, you mentioned my family again, and it's up. I ain't with the trolling, I ain't with the games. You talk about me, fine, but you bring my son in this? Nah, you crossed the line. I'm from the Bronx, we don't do that." His voice cracked. You could feel the emotion, anger, mixed with disappointment. "I gave you respect, kid. I defended you when everybody called you a rat. I told people, yo, the kid made mistakes. But you just proved everybody right. You don't respect nothing. Not the culture, not the code, not even yourself." For a moment, Joe's live felt less like a rant and more like heartbreak. Fans in the comments wrote, "Damn, he really hurt." Others said you can tell Joe actually cared about dude once. Meanwhile, 6ix9ine, seeing all this unfold, dropped one last story for the night. It was just text, no video. It read, "Respect is earned, not demanded. I don't fear no OG, I made my own lane. New York mine now." And with that, the lines were drawn, the rap world was officially divided. Half stood with the old-school Fat Joe, the veteran, the man who built his rep from the ground up. The other half sided with the Chaos-6ix9ine, the rebel, the internet-born monster who thrived off hate. But what no one saw coming next was about to flip the entire story upside down, because in just 24 hours, a leaked phone call would change everything, exposing secrets about loyalty, betrayal, and a hidden deal that linked 6ix9ine and Joe in a way nobody expected. The internet thought it had seen everything until that phone call leaked. Just one day after the heated back-and-forth lives, a mysterious 45-second audio clip dropped online. It was first posted by an anonymous page called @TheRealLeakRoom on X, formerly Twitter. Within minutes, it spread like wildfire. You could hear two distinct voices, unmistakably 6ix9ine and Fat Joe, arguing in what sounded like a private conversation recorded months ago. The clip started with 6ix9ine's voice, low and agitated. "Joe, you said you was gonna make that call for me, bro. Don't tell me you backing out now." Then came Joe's reply, firm and defensive. "I ain't backing out of nothing, but you know how this works. The label don't want to touch you right now. You too, hot kid. You've got the feds still watching." The sound of Tekashi's frustrated sigh echoed. "Man, you said you had connections. You told me you was gonna help me get back on radio. What happened to that?" And then Joe said something that set the whole internet on fire. "I tried, bro, but the game don't respect what you did. You know what I'm talking about? You gotta eat that. That's on you." Then, click. The clip ended. People went crazy. Comment sections were in flames. Wait, they was cool behind the scenes. Fat Joe was helping 6ix9ine get back on radio. Yo, this changes everything. For years, fans thought Fat Joe hated 6ix9ine. Turns out they'd been talking in private. That leak flipped the whole narrative. Suddenly, 6ix9ine's fans were screaming exposed, while Joe's supporters were scrambling to defend him. Blog headlines popped up within the hour. Leaked call proves Fat Joe secretly supported Tekashi. Fat Joe's hidden connection to 6ix9ine exposed. Is Fat Joe a hypocrite? The comments were brutal. He'd been calling the man a rat while doing business behind closed doors, one person wrote. Another fan tweeted, "This why I don't trust no Oz." They all industry now. Within hours, Fat Joe went live again. But this time, he looked different. His face was tight, his voice tired, but there was still that Bronx fire in his tone. "Yeah, I seen the clip," he started. "And yeah, I spoke to the kid months ago. I ain't ashamed of that. You know why? Because I tried to help him. I thought maybe I could guide him, keep him from self. But what he did after that, that's on him. Don't twist it like I was trying to do business. I was trying to be a mentor." But the internet didn't care. Screenshots of Joe saying, "I ain't backing out," were everywhere. The memes were relentless. One viral post read, "Fat Joe, I don't mess with rats. Also, Fat Joe helps the rat get radio play." Meanwhile, 6ix9ine doubled down. He went on his own live, smirking from ear to ear. Y'all heard it yourselves. The same Joe that's been calling me fake, calling me a snitch, was begging to help me get back in the game. He said he'd make a few calls for me. Back in the game. He said he'd make a few calls for me. Bro wanted to eat off me like everyone else. He laughed, leaned closer to the camera and said, "Joe, you ain't no og, you a hypocrite. You playing both sides. You smile in my face and then talk about me online. You old rappers can't stand when the new generation wins without kissing your rings." That line broke the internet. Within minutes, thousands of fans flipped sides. TikToks flooded the For You page, comparing old interviews of Joe dissing 6ix9ine with the leaked call audio. Some creators even slowed down the audio, claiming they heard industry names in the background, whispers of deals, payoffs, and mutual favors. Even mainstream outlets picked it up. TMZ Complex, Hot New Hip Hop, and The Shade Room all ran the story. Each headline got wilder than the last. But while the media feasted on the chaos, something else was happening behind closed doors. something that would make this beef personal on a whole new level. Because apparently that leaked call didn't come from some random hacker. According to insider sources from 6ix9ine's old circle, the leak came from inside Joe's own camp. A name started floating around one of Joe's former producers, Kai known as Rico Blaze, who had reportedly fallen out with Joe years ago over unpaid royalties. Word was, Rico still had recordings from studio sessions and phone calls Joe made during the pandemic. And he'd been holding them as insurance. Now, Rico had allegedly sold that clip to a gossip page for a fat check. And once that rumor got out, it was over. Joe's team went into full damage control. They started calling blogs, issuing statements, trying to shut it down. But by that point, it was too late. The internet had already decided the verdict. Fat Joe equals fake OG 6ix9ine in exposed another one. The tables turned quick. Even other rappers started weighing in. Boosie went on live saying, "I told y'all, man. These old dudes talk loyalty, but they ain't loyal to nobody but the bag." Meanwhile, DJ Envy posted a cryptic story. "The industry ain't what it seems. Watch who you call big bro." Joe, clearly under pressure, disappeared from social media for 2 days. No posts, no lives, nothing. Fans were worried, others mocked him. "He hiding," they said. Then, just when people thought the storm was over, 6ix9ine dropped a new diss track. Out of nowhere, he released Crack Lies, an obvious shot at Fat Joe. The cover art, a cartoon version of Joe with tape over his mouth, holding a microphone that said "canceled." The hook, pure chaos. They said Joe crack, but he crack under pressure. Said he real, but he talked to the ops for the cheddar og frontin'. Now I'm richer than his whole era. This rainbow gone, shine forever. Within hours, it hit 1 million streams on YouTube. The comments were pure madness. 6ix9ine done resurrected himself again. Joe's career in ICURN? This man too dangerous with Wi-Fi. Fat Joe finally broke his silence the next night. He didn't go live. Instead, Kay posted a simple black and white statement on Instagram. "I've been in this game 30 years. I don't respond to kids chasing views. I stand on what I said. Respect the culture or get erased from it." The post got 1 million likes, but the comments were split. Some said, "That's a real one." Others wrote, "Bro, you just got cooked. Humble yourself." Then, something happened that nobody saw coming. One of Joe's longtime friends, none other than Remy Ma, entered the chat. She went on Twitter and said, "I love Joe, but if that audio real, I can't defend that. This new gen don't play fair." That single tweet shook the entire hip-hop internet. Remy and Joe had been tight for decades. Terror Squad family. If she was questioning him, what did that say? 6ix9ine immediately reposted it with laughing emojis and wrote, "Even Remy know the truth." At this point, fans weren't just entertained, they were addicted. They wanted answers. They wanted receipts. They wanted to know who was telling the truth. And then, a shocking twist hit. An old video surfaced from 2018, a podcast clip where 6ix9ine actually praised Fat Joe, calling him one of the only real ones who ever kept it 100. People started asking if 6ix9ine respected him back then. What happened in between? Was this whole beef personal or planned? Some conspiracy theorists even claimed the entire thing was staged. That 6ix9ine and Joe were secretly collaborating to build hype for an upcoming documentary or a podcast. But when reporters reached out to both camps for comment, neither side responded. Silence. Still, the fans couldn't shake the feeling that something deeper was coming. Because if a 45-second call could shake the industry, imagine what a full hour-long conversation could reveal. And rumor had it that full call existed. Unedited, uncut. Waiting to drop, the story had already gone global. Every hip-hop outlet, every reaction channel, every gossip page had milked the 45-second leak for clicks. But nobody expected the full call to surface an unedited end. 30-minute conversation that changed how everyone saw the feud. It dropped out of nowhere one Friday night, uploaded anonymously to a file share link labeled The Real Tape. Within minutes, snippets hit social media. The audio quality was rough, but the voices were clear. What fans heard was not the sound of two men plotting revenge, it was the sound of two broken egos trying to patch old wounds. Early in the recording, Joe's voice came through. Kid, I'm telling you this for your own good. The industry ain't loyal. They'll use you, then throw you away. You gotta grow past the clown stuff. 6ix9ine's tone softened for the first time in weeks. Bro, you think I don't know that? They already used me. I'm just playing the same game they play, but louder. Then came the line that froze listeners. Joe sighed and said, maybe I've been too hard on you. I just didn't want to see another kid burn out. The rest of the call was calm, almost father and son energy. No shouting, no clout chasing. When it ended, you could hear 6ix9ine quietly say, respect Joe, for real. That was it. No scheming, no backstabbing. Just two artists trying to find common ground before pride pulled them apart again. The internet lost its mind. Comments poured in. Wait, they actually respected each other. So the whole beef was pride and misunderstanding. Man, social media ruined this friendship. Suddenly, the same fans who'd fueled the war started asking for peace. Even bloggers began admitting they'd helped the drama snowball. The narrative flipped. From 6ix9ine in Destroys Joe to 2 generations torn apart by fame. The next morning, Fat Joe finally re-emerged on camera. Sitting in his studio, hoodie up, he looked exhausted. But his voice carried that calm authority people remembered. Look, y'all heard the tape? Ain't no villains here. Just 2 men who let the internet talk louder than their own words. I said some things I shouldn't have. He said some things he shouldn't have. That's life. A pause. Then he added quietly, I still wish the kid the best. Hours later, 6ix9ine posted a short clip on his page. No captions, no filters. Just him sitting in silence, nodding, then muttering respect. It was the closest thing to a truce either side would ever give. But social media doesn't sleep. Reaction channels dropped ending explained videos dissecting every second of the tape. Fans debated whether the beef had been real or staged. A commentary on how fast cancel culture eats its own. The phrase loud game, quiet truth started trending. A reminder that what people see online is rarely the full story. Meanwhile, Joe's son Ryan posted on X. Glad they finally talked it out. Grown man energy. That post alone got more likes than anything he'd ever tweeted. Over the next week, both rappers went quiet. No lives, no disses. For once, the silence spoke louder than the noise. Then, out of nowhere, an event flyer appeared online. Legends of New York benefit concert for the Bronx. At the bottom of the lineup, 2 names appeared side by side, Fat Joe and 6ix9ine. The internet exploded again. Yo, they performing together? No way this real. Full circle moment FR. Neither man confirmed or denied it. But just the rumor was enough to turn chaos into anticipation. Commentators said it best. In a world built on beef, peace gets more clicks than war. And that was the strange truth of it all. The feud that began as destruction ended as a lesson. 2 generations of hip-hop colliding, misunderstanding each other, and finally realizing the same thing. Nobody wins when pride's the loudest voice. So what do you think really happened behind that camera? Was the feud real, or was it a reflection of how social media twists every disagreement into entertainment? Did 6ix9ine truly destroy Fat Joe? Or did they both expose something deeper about fame, loyalty, and the way the internet feeds on chaos? At the end of the day, the only thing louder than the beef was the audience cheering for it. The live might be over, but the conversation it started about respect between generations, about who controls the narrative that's still echoing through the culture. If you watched this whole saga unfold, you saw more than just 2 rappers arguing. You saw how quickly fans can build someone up, tear them down, then beg for reconciliation all in the same week. You saw how easily private words become public weapons. maybe the real destruction. Wasn't one artist ending another's career? Maybe it was the truth that clout costs more than loyalty and everybody pays in the end. Now we want to hear from you. Was this all business? Was it real emotion? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Tell us whose side you're on, or if you think both of them finally grew up. And if you love stories that mix hip-hop, drama, and raw truth, the way only this culture can make, sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because in this game, the next explosion's always one live away. Always one live away.